All right, Shalom. Before I start, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakurash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all the elect Akim Wa'akwath, learning and teaching in truth and sincerity. Another video through the Spirit, your brother Malak from GMS Detroit. Hey, this one right here, interesting, this one popped up, says, why every religion banned pork? I'm only going to be letting a couple minutes of this play. It's 53 minutes long. He's covering, some of the major religions, why they don't eat pork and whatnot. Like I said, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but just based off the title alone, right? Satan's meat. All right, why every religion banned pork? That right there, if even if you're a damned atheist, a secular bastard, non-believing bastard, if every belief format, if the majority, not all, bans eating a particular food, wouldn't it be smart just to leave? Obviously, even if you don't believe, there must be something that all these groups, some sort of reasonable conclusion, some way, somehow, that they're coming to that, man, you know what, maybe this animal just is not fit for human consumption. All right. And the fact that people will still give pushback, it just goes to show you, y'all, the spirit of rebellion against God flourishes on the earth. And I'm using that term, because, that's how they believe, right? We understand the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and His Son, Yahweh Shai. The spirit of, if some entity up in the sky, he going to tell me not to do it, I'm going to do it just because he said not to do it, right? People are walking around in the earth with that spirit. And something that seems as little as eating that animal, when that animal is not designed for human consumption. It is a bottom feeder. Even if you try to feed it so-called good, clean food, it is still not fit for human consumption. The way that animal in particular stores its waste, no matter how good of the cooking of the meat you do, it is an extremely, it transfers over, right? It doesn't excrete waste like clean animals do. All right, so let me just get this in the law. We don't have the right to question the Heavenly Father's authority. All right, and now we had these animals around, right? You can, you have pigs around for disposal, natural forms of disposal, and they exist in the wilderness. But the Heavenly Father told us what we couldn't eat. So this video isn't as much of a, the dietary law type video, but more so the fact that people push back against it. It just goes to show you the natural spirit of rebellion, right? And Esau Edom has heavily enforced that spirit in the world, right? Used to just breakfast commercials, eggs, bacon, and ham, and hash brown, right? He's installed that into the culture of the world to do, eat, think, believe the exact opposite of what the Heavenly Father gave to us in the scriptures. And now look at the world. Now look at all these perpetual pork eaters, all out of shape, diseased. You got that fat nigga Yahweh the Maccabee. He about to lay up in the bed and die. The other nigga 70 AY, MBY, whatever. That nigga get fatter every video he do, and his stomach gonna bust on camera. All right, but let me let me read this real quick, man. Leviticus 11:7. It says, "In the swine, though he divideth the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch, they are unclean to you." Right? So you can't touch their dead body. Touching one itself doesn't make, like, a dog, right? You can't eat dog. Touching a dog doesn't make you unclean, but touching its carcass will. So you can use these animals for their natural purpose. Salaki, got a phone call. All right, in this whole chapter, Leviticus, the 11th chapter, it tells you what you can and can't eat. Give me 1 second. Right, so you look up that term, right, cud, right, chewing the cud. It says cud is a portion of the food that returns from a ruminant stomach to the mouth to be chewed for the second time. More precisely, it is a bolus of semi-degraded food regurgitated from the reticularumen of a ruminant. Cud is produced during the physical digestive process of ruminations. So, to make it long story short, y'all, animals that chew the cud, it means what? It chews on its food, it produces it back up, right? Or so-called regurgitate, and then it takes it down. Now, the animals that we can eat that do this, like cows, they have a multi-filtration system in their body. They have several stomachs, basically. All right, it has a whole, the food right here, perfect. Yep, this is a picture. The food goes through a whole process through its body. So it has a more concentrated filtration system. That's why animals like a cow and a deer are clean for us to eat, because we're not animals that don't have that system. It's just bad for us, man. God damn. What more what more does the Heavenly Father need to say? He said don't do it, and that really should be it. That's really it. That's really it. Right? I just got these pictures up so you can see. The food goes through this whole process. Pigs don't have this system. Therefore, all the parasites that don't kill them, that their body is strong enough to handle, when you eat them, our bodies are not strong enough to handle it. You catch one of them parasites that they commonly have, nigga, you will wake up in the spiritual realm. It's not that deep. So let me let this play now. Salakia, y'all. Just common sense. If everybody says leave it alone, maybe you should leave it alone.
Why do most religions hate pork? I grew up eating pork, pretty uncontroversial. But it seems like almost every religion around the world doesn't eat pork. Muslims, Jews, Seventh-day Adventists, Jainism, Rastafari.
And something I note,
Ethiopian Orthodox, branches of Buddhism, some Chinese folk religions, and apparently it goes deep. It's from...
I was about to, yeah, something I mentioned, I noticed he didn't mention Christians. Why? Because most Christians eat pork. Because they don't know the scriptures. And even when I was going through the comments, somebody went and posted at Matthew 15, this now will go into it, man, this will come. That's not talking about food, you stupid bitch. That's talking about your beliefs. So once again, you Christians dropped the fucking ball once again.
Like Buddhist compassion to Native American traditions to biblical explanations, and is reinforced in Deuteronomy 14:8, which adds, the pig is also unclean. Pigs are scavengers. They're gross. They eat everything. Eating non-kosher foods like pork is believed to create a spiritual barrier between the person and their ability to connect with the divine.
Precisely. Eating these unclean foods puts a barrier between you and the divine, between us, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, between us, the Israelites, and the powers that be, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. This is why Esau Edom allows people to eat these abominable foods in the first fucking place, to keep that barrier up, to make you constantly unclean and defiled and going off, divided from your power. This is why Esau allows this. And man, come on.
The religious texts of Islam go beyond simple prohibition, right? Describing pigs as inherently impure creatures, both spiritually and physically. It was not a proper article.
And it's not that deep. A pig itself is not wicked, y'all. Once again, every animal on the earth has its purpose. So don't mind Islam, but they're simply not meant to be eaten. It's as simple as that.
Of food for man. Principles of compassion. For Buddhists, this is known as karuna. Like some Jains, and I think we'll probably get to it, are so strict that they won't eat anything except for what has fallen from the tree. So they're like, if an apple falls, you can eat it. That's like the...
And we're not going to that extreme. The Heavenly Father didn't tell us nothing like that. That's some stupid heathen shit. That's why we're going to subjugate them.
Most hardcore. Like, I don't know if you can even do that. Many elders teach that during slavery, pigs were fed the same poor quality food as enslaved peoples. The pig was the garbage disposal of the plantation, linking food choices to the liberation from colonial influence. So let's
right, so that's dealing with the Rasta. So, that intro is honestly really all we much need out of there. And of course Christians are gonna fucking go off on everything.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a little silly goosey. No lie, this working.
I don't know if I can finish anymore. I'm totally feeling.
Let's jump in to the story of pork. Let's start with the Jews, shall we? One of the earliest ones to outlaw the use of pork, one of the oldest religions in the world. And this comes from Jewish kashrut law. within the Torah, which if you are a Christian, you also read the Torah, first 5 books of the Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Crush that.
Most Christians don't know what the Torah is.
Sunday school, holler at me. Or Torah school? Do Jews have like a Shabbat school or something? Jews, let me know. Comment below. It does not chew the cud. It is unclean for you. It does not chew.
So he's just going to the 2 scriptures.
Chew the cud. Which Jews, kosher is fit for consumption. It must possess 2 distinct characteristics. It must chew its cud. What is that? This is a process where an animal will regurgitate and re-chew partially digested food and have split hooves. Those are the 2 things. Chew the cud, split hooves. Now, pigs have split hooves. Can we get a picture of a pig hoof real quick? But they don't chew their cud, making them problematic. It's interesting that that's what kosher would want. That's the Jewish.
So we're not going to eat it. That should be the end of it, nigga. That should be the end all be all. If what the Heavenly Father says should be the end all be all if you claim to believe in the Bible. But there's always a problem, huh?
With the law. But what about Christianity? We got a couple Christian sects of the great faith of Jesus Christ that prohibits pork consumption. Maybe the most infamous, perhaps, is the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. And this is significant because it is one of the oldest branches of Christianity. So let's dive in, shall we? The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, one of the oldest, if not the oldest Christian churches in the world, maintains many Old Testament dietary laws, including the prohibition of pork. The practice finds its biblical foundation in the same passages observed by Judaism. Leviticus 11 verses interpret Peter's visions in Acts 10 as abolishing dietary restrictions. Ethiopian churches maintain these practices as a part of their unique spirit.
Nope. So here, let me take that back. Yep, they fucked up that Acts 10.
Tracing back to the ancient kingdom of Aksum. Unlike other Christian denominations that interpret Peter's visions in Acts 10 as abolishing dietary restrictions, Ethiopian churches maintain these practices as a part of their unique spiritual.
Yeah, so other Christian groups incorrectly break down Acts 10 to say that you can eat every animal, when that was telling Peter not to reject Cornelius and them because they believed in the Lord. The Gentiles, which were the Israelite foreigners coming back to the fold. So once again, we see retards not knowing what's going on and how much confusions Christians have sent out into the world, improper Christians, Edomite, what's the word? Pseudo Christians.
Heritage. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tawahedo Church views these dietary laws not as mere regulations, but as spiritual disciplines.
Yep. Hey, let me get one more.
Indians? We'd be remiss to not discuss the American Indian, aka the Native American. Some Native American tribes also hold pork in this unique position, even prior to European colonization.
Why was that? Because they're Israelites. How would they even know about pigs, y'all? Remember, Esau brought those pigs over here. Why would because certain of the tribes fell away completely, right? Gave in. But the tribes who didn't, why would they even understand that they shouldn't eat pork? Animal that's not even on the continent yet. Why? Because they're Israelites. Close the book.
So the black elk, a renowned Oglala Lakota holy man, spoke of this in his teachings. So this is what Black Elk said. Our people lived from the natural foods of our lands. Each creature that sustained us held sacred meaning. The introduction of pork represents not just a new food source, but a departure from traditional relationships with the land and its creatures. Oh, that's interesting. Pigs are not indigenous to North America.
Yep. Exactly. Pigs don't. Esau brought them over on them boats. But even like he said before then, you had tribes who knew not to eat it. Why? Because they're Israelites. Remember why they came over here, y'all, second edgers, to keep the laws. And as time went on, eventually they fell away piece by piece, but some held on as long as they could.
Wow. So if pigs aren't over here, the natives are like, hey, this is outsider food. This is not for us. Wow, that's really interesting. So the introduction of pork represented not just a new food, but a departure from the traditional relationship with the land and its creatures.
Yep, and the spirit of eating that is the spirit of Edom, y'all. The spirit of rebellion, which is in these last days, y'all, in these last days, the spirit of rebellion against the Heavenly Father has been magnified in this earth. And that's really, I'm trying, getting back to it. That's really the main point of this video, y'all. In these last days, that spirit of everybody doing whatever the F they want, not listening to the Heavenly, throwing their hands up, not giving an F, increased manifold. All right, dealing with this precept right here, Romans 1, right? Highlights people on the other side of the fence, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna start at verse 28. It says, "And even as they did not like to retain the power in their knowledge, the power gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient." Right, and these verses up, they're zeroing in on people who are committing, sexual lewdness. But that right there, that mindset, hey, the Heavenly Father, these people already had a chip on their shoulder, so He's giving them up to their own devices. It says, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents. The one I'm focusing on is the term haters of God, which is what? Theostiges, literally, the Greek word. Theo, God, stigi, hater. These people hate anything that has to do with a divine higher being. And they're disobedient and rebellious. Common sense. The animal is not meant to be eaten. And there's dudes that have, hey, the Elder Malcolm always brings it out. There was a Northern Kingdom dude. He was hearing everything. He was liking everything he was hearing. And as soon as he was told he couldn't eat that pork, he threw his hands up and left. If you're willing to throw away your shot at salvation over a pig, you're a scrupulous bastard. But that's the mindset of these people. They gonna do whatever they want to do, and can't nobody tell them nothing. Let me get yep. I can start at 1, but I want to start. Fuck it, I got to start at 1. Psalms 14:1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek the power. They are all gone aside. They are altogether become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Everybody is down here walking in their own way, y'all, doing whatever they want. And that this whole diet thing, that's one of the big ones. The Heavenly Father laid down a guideline. Even the heathen, which the heathen, they're not under the dietary law, but if even they themselves kept the dietary law, right, it would change things. But what is everybody down here doing? Walking in their own understanding, which we're commanded not to. What is that in Proverbs? Now, when we were in the world, we didn't know, but now that we know, we are held to a standard. Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. Most people on the earth lean unto their own understanding, and they wonder why they don't make it past age 52. Heart clogged up, goddamn fat and solids all in your blood vessels. You've been doing everything that the Heavenly Father said not to since you were 0 years old, and you're actually shocked at why your life, is clogging up. These people are down here crazy. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get this one out of Ecclesiastes. God damn it. Yep, Ecclesiastes 7 in the last verse, 29. It says, "Lo, this only have I known, that the power hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions." So, this is beginning with Adam. We're supposed to be down here doing that which is right and holy, but in contrast, what do you see chiefly the children of Israel doing, right? And since we're going off, all the whole world is going off, right? These things have become tradition, right? Ways of life of people doing wickedness, and they feel that, you know, they've been eating pork since they was 5, and nothing happened then, so, you know, I'm gonna just keep on eating it. Well, when you die a painful disease-related death, then you're gonna be looking stupid, wishing that you had taken heed. All right, and this is dealing with all forms of wickedness as well. You know, taking it back to that video, because these people look at the signs. If many and most of the major religions in the world reject pork and its consumption, then goddamn, maybe there's something wrong with it. So that's it, y'all. I ain't gonna keep going on about it, but I seen that. I wanted to make put my 2 cents on it, y'all. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachakorash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all the elect Akim, Wa Akwath, learning, teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom.